It is reported that people have seen Camilla appeared multiple times around that place.
In the midst of a historic power transition at Buckingham, a terrifying earthquake suddenly struck when Prince William's car suffered a serious malfunction, plunging William into a state of disappearance amid the fog of Norfolk. Immediately, shocking rumors exploded. William had suffered a mental breakdown and lost his ability to succeed to the throne. The world was stunned, but the horrifying truth behind it was the real fatal blow. The culprit who emerged was none other than Camilla, with a ruthless plot to completely destroy the heir's reputation using dirty media and military-grade jamming devices. Deep inside the palace, a brutal coup plan was gradually being exposed, aimed directly at the highest seat of power. Will William make it back in time to clear his name before those insane accusations? What fate awaits the snake in the heart of the royal family when King Charles III's wrath descends? Don't miss the breathtaking purge that follows. In 2026, the red-carpeted corridors of Windsor Castle witnessed a silent but seismic geopolitical shift. After 2 years of courageous battle against cancer, King Charles III's health had shown unexpectedly positive progress. Medical reports indicated that his body was responding well to the most advanced treatment regimens. However, instead of reclaiming power, the 77-year-old monarch made a decision that left political observers stunned. He proactively accelerated the transfer of the crown's most critical responsibilities to Prince William. Charles III was not acting on emotion. He was a strategist looking at hard numbers. William's public approval in both America and Britain had reached an all-time high, a symbol of stability and vibrant continuity. The king understood that the monarchy needed a modern face to survive. Granting William decision-making power over sensitive diplomatic files and family administration was not only an act of trust, but also a grim preparation for the worst-case scenario. Charles was building a shadow government for his son, ensuring that if his illness suddenly relapsed, the royal machinery would not miss a single beat. But in the world of cold stone walls, one person's power is always a threat to another. In the north wing room of the palace, Queen Camilla stood silently by the window, her sharp eyes following the car, carrying William as it departed. She understood exactly what this transfer protocol meant for her. Once the crown was firmly in William's hands, the Queen Regent position she had painstakingly built over decades would vanish into thin air. To William, she would forever be a stepmother, carrying the scars of the past, and he would certainly not grant her any place of honor in the new reign. The fear of being pushed to the margins, stripped of privileges, and isolated in the old residence ignited an extreme fire in Camilla's mind. She could not sit still and wait for the day she became a powerless royal widow. A ruthless plan began to take shape. When the royal family moved to the Sandringham estate for a break, Camilla knew this was her only chance to reverse the board. In the quiet stillness of Norfolk, a dark conspiracy was activated, aimed straight at the sole heir to the throne. Real power was gradually slipping from the king's hands, but what tactics would Camilla use to stop William's steps at Sandringham? Queen Camilla, with ruthless determination to protect her position, took a step with no way back. She secretly contacted a group of former special agents, individuals with professional skills and absolute anonymity. The mission assigned was brief but extremely sophisticated: disable Prince William's official vehicle. Under Camilla's direction, the team infiltrated the royal garage to sever the GPS positioning system and create a low-level brake fluid leak, a maneuver sufficient to cause an incident, but without leaving obvious traces of an assassination attempt. That morning, as Prince William's Land Rover began moving through the remote areas of Norfolk, the trap was triggered. However, Camilla's plot ran into the sharp instincts of the royal security team. After only a short distance, the professional driver from the close guard immediately detected abnormal signs from the control system and brakes. "Your Highness, the vehicle is showing strange signs. The braking system is not responding accurately, and the positioning has lost signal, the driver reported in a steely voice. With the instinct of a specialist protector, he did not hesitate to make the decision. We must stop the vehicle for an emergency immediately. The car jerked to a halt in the middle of desolate land, completely cut off from the main roads. Tension enveloped the scene as the close guard tried to connect with the command center. But all efforts were in vain. A military-grade jamming device had been planted inside the vehicle earlier by the special agents turning the prince's convoy into a completely isolated island. Standing in the silent expanse of Norfolk, William faced the reality that he had fallen into a calculated trap. He looked straight at the head of the close guard, his voice cold but full of authority. Loss of communication. GPS cut-off brakes leaking. This is not a technical failure. This is a deliberate attack aimed at the line of succession. The head of the guard nodded his hand, gripping his weapon tightly. Your Highness, we have completely lost contact. It will take a very long time for the Central Security Team to locate us in this fog. Then prepare yourselves, William said through gritted teeth. Whoever dared to cut off my communication is certainly preparing the next act in London. They think this silence will be the end of me. But they are wrong. Prince William's convoy officially lost all contact with the Central Security Team for many continuous hours. In the deathly stillness of Norfolk, William stood there isolated in terms of transport, but burning with the will to confront. While at Buckingham, Camilla was beginning to count down the final seconds to unleash her fatal blow on the media front. When the prince was completely isolated in the fog, what ruthless narratives would Camilla unleash to turn this incident into the end of William's reputation? The terrifying silence in the Norfolk fog was the starting signal for a meticulously orchestrated media storm in London. The moment she received the report that Prince William's convoy had completely lost contact with the Central Security Team, Queen Camilla did not waste a single second. She immediately activated her network of dirty media sorcerers, tabloid editors, and scandal-hunting journalists she had nurtured for years with secret funds. In less than an hour, the internet and major news sites were rocked by blazing headlines with ruthless direction. Prince William, mysteriously missing nightmare. At Sandringham, or future king self-drives and vanishes in the fog, appeared densely across the papers. Camilla sat in her isolated private study at the palace, the computer screen light casting a cold, satisfied glow on her face. The articles did not stop at reporting. They began shifting into a mocking tone directly attacking the heir's administrative capability. One of her trusted editors wrote scathing lines. How ridiculous that a man preparing to shoulder the fate of an entire monarchy cannot even control his own official vehicle. A future king who cannot even check his car or manage a basic route, how can he handle the great affairs of the nation? These words were like poison-dipped daggers aimed straight at the perfect responsible image William had painstakingly built. Tension escalated when Camilla summoned an emergency meeting with the royal media advisors right at the residence. In the stifling atmosphere, she stood before William's trusted people and threw down the pre-prepared, forged documents. Look, this is the result of placing too much expectation on someone who is not ready. Camilla slammed the newspaper onto the table, her voice sharp with contempt. A longtime advisor to William, his face flushed with rage, immediately fired back. Your Majesty, the Prince is a professional military pilot. He would never make such amateur mistakes. This is clearly an incident with signs of sabotage. Sabotage? Camilla sneered, her eyes piercing the other party. Or is it psychological weakness? Stop covering up the fact that the Prince of Wales is crumbling under the pressure of the crown. The public needs to know that the person holding the final power is someone not sane enough to find his way home. Not stopping there, Camilla's network began weaving a darker narrative about William's mental health. Anonymous experts kept appearing on news sites, claiming that the pressure of caring for his wife undergoing treatment while shouldering national responsibilities in place of his father had caused William to fall into a serious mental breakdown. They asserted that William had completely lost behavioral control, leading to him causing the accident himself and now wandering the fields of Norfolk in a delusional hallucinatory state.
"This is blatant slander," the advisor roared, slamming his fist on the table. "You are deliberately destroying the heir's honor at the very moment he is in trouble." Camilla stepped closer, her face inches from the advisor, her voice a threatening whisper. "I am speaking the truth that the whole world is talking about. A king cannot break down. A king cannot get lost. If William is wandering out there like a madman, then his own position has already collapsed. No matter how you defend him, it won't change the fact that he is no longer sane enough to hold power." "You will pay for these lies," the advisor hissed through gritted teeth, eyes blazing.
Pay what? Camilla curled her lip, turning away with a triumphant look. "When the world believes William is insane, I will be the only one still sane enough to keep this monarchy from falling apart. Remember that well." The war of words raged fiercely in the halls of Buckingham, while outside public opinion began to be led by toxic rumors. The image of a strong, decisive William was being replaced by the shadow of a mentally broken man, disconnected from reality. Camilla had successfully turned a technical incident into a massive crisis of confidence, cornering William while he was still isolated deep in the woods. Everything was ready for the final step, stripping the heir's power in the name of protecting the monarchy. When the media had blackened William's image, would Camilla's plan flow smoothly to the end? Or would the prince's return bring evidence to reverse the entire game? The fog over Norfolk finally lifted, but the real storm had only just begun when Prince William returned to Buckingham Palace with a chillingly cold demeanor. Despite the rumors of mental breakdown spreading like a virus across the papers, William appeared without a trace of panic. Immediately, he established an internal security cordon, completely isolating the Queen's information channels, and launched a secret investigation at lightning speed. William needed no flowery explanations. He needed raw truth. The investigation led to a shocking discovery when the royal technical team, under the prince's direct supervision, extracted data from the ultra-secret security cameras. The black and white footage clearly showed Camilla's most trusted close guards had been lingering near the royal garage on the night before the incident. They were not there for patrol. They were there to carry out a raid on the heart of the monarchy. After intense and high-pressure interrogation, these individuals could no longer maintain blind loyalty. Faced with irrefutable evidence, they collapsed and confessed that Queen Camilla herself was the mastermind, the one who had ordered the severing of the car's vital systems and the isolation of the heir deep in the forest. William held the dossier containing all the ironclad evidence and walked straight into Camilla's study. Without knocking, without ceremony, he kicked open the door of deception. Camilla was sitting there, holding a cup of tea, her face maintaining a fake calm, until she saw the blazing phosphorus-like fire in her stepson's eyes.
"Did you think the Norfolk fog could cover up your betrayal?" William slammed the dossier onto the table, the sound cracking like a mercy shot. Camilla raised an eyebrow, trying to force a faint smile. "William, you should go and rest. The media is right. The pressure is making you imagine conspiracies that don't exist." "Imagine," William growled, stepping closer to the desk, both hands pressing down on the wood so hard that Camilla had to retreat. "The security cameras don't imagine. Your guards' confessions under MI5's watch don't imagine. You hired people to sabotage my car. You planted a military jamming device to cut off my communication with my father. You wanted to turn me into a madman in the public's eyes so you could sit in that regent's seat, didn't you?" Camilla's face changed color. Her confidence began to crack before the iron evidence. "You have no right to accuse me based on statements from those lowly creatures," she screamed, trying to regain the upper hand.
"Their statements are just byproducts," William retorted, his voice as cold as Arctic ice. "The technical traces on the jamming devices lead straight to the black funds you control. You use the monarchy's money to assassinate the heir's reputation. That is not just family betrayal, Camilla. That is treason. Do you think Charles will believe you? Camilla gritted her teeth, her eyes revealing pure venom. You will never defeat me. Camilla stood up abruptly, her voice trembling with rage and fear. I have already won, Camilla. William said each word deliberately, his gaze piercing straight into the depths of her soul. Your downfall did not begin in the Norfolk fog. It began the moment you thought you could outsmart me. You personally ripped off your own mask. Now no newspaper can save you. No conspiracy can hide the truth that you are the snake in the heart of this palace. Camilla stood rooted to the spot, the dossier of evidence on the table, like a death sentence for her ambitions. Silence enveloped the room, heavy and gloomy, signaling the irreversible collapse of the woman who once thought she could manipulate the entire British monarchy. When all the evidence had been exposed and the betrayal laid bare, what ruthless verdict would King Charles III deliver to purge the culprit from within his own family? The atmosphere in the king's private study at Buckingham Palace was thick with tension and the stench of betrayal. King Charles III sat on the high armchair, his face deeply etched with wrinkles of exhaustion from his illness. But his eyes burned with a never-before-seen flame of fury. Before him, Queen Camilla stood motionless, breathing heavily, desperately, searching for one last glimmer of hope in the eyes of the husband she had lived with for decades. However, all she received was a bone-chilling coldness. Prince William stood beside his father, his hand gripping the dossier of evidence like a death sentence for Camilla's ambitions. The silence stretched unbearably until Charles spoke, his voice hoarse, but as steely as a hammer striking stone. I have spent my entire life protecting you from the axes of public opinion, elevating you to this noble position, Charles said, each word tearing through the space. But I never imagined I was nurturing a venomous snake right in my own bedroom. How dare you use the most despicable tactics to destroy my own son, the heir to this monarchy? Charles, please let me explain. Camilla stammered, her hands trembling, as they clutched the edge of the table. I only wanted to ensure the crown was passed to someone truly stable. William is overloaded, Enough! Charles slammed his hand down hard on the table, causing the ink bottles on the tray to shake. You didn't want to protect the crown. You wanted to protect your own seat. You have betrayed my love, betrayed this royal family, with your filthy plots involving the military and the media. Did you think I was so old and weak that you could manipulate me like a pawn? William took one step forward, his cold eyes staring straight at his stepmother. Your plan was not just a mistake, it was a crime. You have pushed my father into confronting his own son at the very moment he needs the most peace to heal. Your malice is unforgivable. King Charles III did not allow Camilla another word. With a hand still trembling from rage, he picked up the quill pen, pressed it down firmly, and signed the prepared decree on the table. The scratching of the nib on the parchment sounded harsh and final. From this moment, Charles declared loudly, Queen Camilla is officially banished from the court. I strip her of all privileges, titles, and any access to the royal budget. She will be permanently expelled from public duties. The close guard will escort her out of Buckingham, immediately to Ray Mill House. She will live the rest of her life in isolation, never again permitted to appear in any ceremony of this monarchy. Camilla collapsed, her face deathly pale, as she realized that the crown and power she had spent half her life trading for had now turned to ashes. 2 royal guards entered, escorting her out of the room under the contempt of the very husband she once thought she could control. The heavy wooden door closed completely, ending an era full of ambition and lies of the woman who stood behind the shadows of the palace. The British monarchy had been purged, opening a new chapter under the strict protection of Prince William. What do you think about Camilla's ruthless actions and King Charles III's decisive purge decision in this final chapter? In your opinion, what lesson does the downfall of a power symbol like Camilla bring about loyalty and the price of betrayal in the treacherous world of the royal family? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.